In this video, we're going to begin to look at three-dimensional shapes and talk a little bit about a category called spatial geometry. During class today, we did form a three-dimensional shape. So everything has, instead of dealing with a flat object like we were before with area and perimeter, we start dealing with three-dimensional shapes. So we're going to begin working with things that have something called volume. Okay, a little bit of vocabulary. When we draw an object, in this case, we're going to look at a cube. Okay, so with this cube shape, there's the flat surfaces are called the face. So a cube has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 faces. Okay, the three of the faces in the back, here and down here, are in a sense hidden. Okay, so in order to make it look three-dimensional, we use dashed lines to indicate the hidden edges. So that's where we get these dotted lines from to form sort of those faces. Okay, an edge is the segment, the line segment, where two faces meet. So I have an edge here, I have an edge here, an edge here. Okay, these are the solid lines, as well as the hidden lines in the back represent the edges. The vertex is going to be the point where the two, or in some cases, more edges meet. So in this case, there's going to be 3 edges. So this would be a vertex where this face, and this face meet, or those edges. When we begin to look at some particular types of shapes, we have some objects that are called prisms. Prisms are formed with a polygon, a multi-sided shape formed out of straight lines on the top and the bottom, with some spaces in between. Prisms are given the name based off of which polygon they use. So if the base on the top and the bottom, are triangles, we call it a triangular prism. If they're rectangles, we call it a rectangular prism. Pentagon, a 5-sided object, will be a pentagonal prism. Hexagons, 6-sided object shapes, will give you a hexagonal. And so this continues on. So if I look at these sample prisms down the bottom, we notice down here it's got a 5-sided object on top and a 5-sided object on the bottom. So if it's 5-sided, I go up to my chart. A 5-sided object is something called a pentagon. So I will call this a pentagonal prism. The next shape has a rectangle shape on the polygon on the top and the bottom. So I call it a rectangular prism. Letter C is a triangle on the top and on the bottom. So I will call this a triangular prism. You may notice that the sides of these are all form rectangles. Kind of these faces that are facing here, 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 and here. They're all rectangles. So the focus is really, what is the other shape that is being used besides the rectangular faces around the side? Another type of three-dimensional figure deals with a shape where we have a polygon on the bottom, or the polygon forming the base, on one side and going to a point on the top. And most of us are familiar with the pyramids from the Great Pyramids of Egypt. But in math, we actually give a couple different types of pyramids. So for example, this would be a rectangular pyramid because we have a rectangle on the bottom and it goes up to a point with the triangles on forming the other sides, forming the other faces. In class today, we were able to form a triangular pyramid out of the envelope. So because the sides were all the triangles, okay, the side opposite the point was actually a triangle. We have a few other shapes that don't fit these categories. Okay, we've dealt where we have polygons, shapes with straight sides. Okay, the other shapes have other types of bottoms. For example, a cylinder has a circular, bases. So because there are no straight lines, we call it a cylinder. It looks almost like a prism because they have the flat sides on the top and the bottom, but because it's circular, we call it cylinder. Same thing, a cone looks a lot like a pyramid, but because the base isn't a polygon, it's a circle and goes up to a point, we call it a cone. A sphere has no base at all. Basically, for those of you that like basketball, baseball, lacrosse, anything with a ball, a ball is a type of a sphere. It's a circular object that forms like a perfect circle around. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. It's a lot of vocabulary to learn, but hopefully we'll continue to work with it and to grow with it. Thank you, and have a nice weekend.